There it is. Whatever. What's up, y'all? We're gonna get started in a few. Putting out a tweet. And I guess like a Facebook-like message. Being a streamer is very online, which is fine. I'm online. My computer runs a little bit slower when I'm running OBS in the background. I wonder if I minimize the window, it'll run faster. Cool. I'm just gonna get some water. How's everyone doing tonight? I wonder if I should share my screen now. Why not? So, as you might have seen on my Twitter or message about this stream, I'm gonna be taking, maybe I'm gonna be adding in a window capture device so that I can share my screen to you. And I'm just clicking through the OBS menu to try to figure out how to do that. I want like the whole screen. How do I do that? Maybe I'm in the wrong source. Display capture is what I want. Yeah, not window capture. Because I want the whole display. Okay, cool. That is way too big. And I'm gonna shrink it down. I don't even know what that is. But this is what I need to shrink down. Oh man. Welcome to the hallway of streamers. Oh man, love that effect. I feel like I'm in a 90s PC game. All right. Cool. I've got my screen and I've got my little me up here, so you should be able to see what I'm doing. Yeah, so tonight I'm going to be working on a map display of this data that comes from the Department of Education's website, where they let you search for locations in New York City that they're giving out free meals, which is a really cool service that they're offering. Yeah, and on this website, I can put in my zip code, hit search, page refreshes, and it shows me these places like MS 131 or the New Design School. And at all these places, you can go from 7:30 to 11:30 a.m. on Mondays through Fridays. For children and families can go and get meals, and 11:30 to 1:30 p.m. adults can go and get meals, which is pretty cool. I went to one the other day in my neighborhood at the New Design High School, and DJ was there giving out food to folks in the neighborhood, which was awesome to see. DJ is a great guy. And I asked my friend Saber if he knew anyone at the DOE who might be able to like give us this data in like a dump, because I thought it would be cool to put it on a map. And his friend Ankit was at the DOE and built a scraper of this data in Python, which is pretty cool. And he's clear that there's some to-dos that have to be improved in the program that he wrote, and I thought it'd be cool to like work on some of those tonight, as well as try to get a map together. So I'm gonna clear out a few things that I was testing earlier to make sure that this would be a good stream, because I just want to start from scratch. So I'll remove a few files in a folder, and you know what? I will check out the original version of the scrape file so that there aren't any real local modifications other than this env file, which I'll get to later. I'm gonna plug in my computer so that I don't have to deal with the drainage of my battery that will inevitably come from being on OBS streaming video for hours on end. So I'll open up the project in VS Code and just take a look at what we have here. There's the README file, a requirements.txt file, which is Python's way of declaring dependencies of a project. Beautiful Soup is a main dependency that we're using here to call out to a website and be able to scrape information out of different parts of it. And in the scrape file, there are a bunch of HTTP headers that need to be set to make the HTTP request to the DOE website, as well as data that we send in a post request that specifies things like which school district that you want to get the locations for, or like how many records you want to get back, here 20. And then we have the URL of the page that we request. We actually make the request and get the response, and then pass the text that we get back from that web page into Beautiful Soup, which will parse it in the context of HTML, and then OnKit found that he could grab all of the TR elements in that page that more or less corresponded to the entries of the locations. And if I look in my browser dev tools, I can inspect some of these HTML elements to see this is the first TD, I believe, in the document. And so it'll grab everything inside of this blue box and print it out. So I believe, what is the command? Python scrape.py, and then NN, where that is the 2-digit district number. Surprisingly, I learned earlier that I am in District 1. And I guess there are 32 school districts in New York City. So running the script for School District 1, I see that we get all this information out. So New Design High School, 350 Grand Street, matches up to a row like this. So it looks like all that information that we were looking at in that blue box earlier is extracted out here. Now that's a little bit too much information. We really just want the address to begin with, because for a map, we just want locations that we can somehow throw into a map. And I do have a cheat sheet that I'll continue to refer back to, that I made a loose plan of what I want to do tonight. First is to extract only the address, because as you can see, we're getting extra information which might mess up our process later, like District 01 Manhattan, and then the word DOH inspection report, which is actually that linked text to the Department of Health's last inspection report of the cafeteria. So after that, maybe not in my area code, but in, I think, School District 2, even if we have 20 results per page, I see that there's more than 20 results in total, and there's this pagination to see, I guess, the 21st location in School District 2. So the script does not account for pagination right now, so maybe we can do that. As well as, instead of printing out the information in the terminal, we could write that to a CSV file. I guess that's what make it output CSVs meant, so I'm just going to delete that. And then after we have the CSV file, we could do an intermediary step before we plot it on a map. Generally, you might know that maps work off of this idea of like latitude and longitude, and we can't just give addresses to maps. We have to speak in the language of this map, which is a latitude and a longitude coordinate. So we'll do some intermediary step of geocoding, as they call it, of taking an address and outputting a latitude and longitude. And then I found a JavaScript library, Open Layers, which looks straightforward enough to me that we could just add a lot of markers to a map. Can I just loop this? How do I loop? Loop. Okay, let's see if that works. Thanks, Dan Hemmerline, for sponsoring this stream tonight. That is some music that you're hearing from him in the background. Dan's a great musician, and I really appreciate that he let me play some tunes of his on here. All right, to wit. So I think I will work in my local Git repository for a while, and eventually maybe make one large pull request back to Ankit's version. Typically, I would make separate issues and work on separate pull requests for each feature that I work on, but to be honest, I'm not a Python expert and would imagine I would have to go back and forth between separate pull requests and fix things in the middle if I was just trying to as I went along with the process. So I'm gonna just try to program a bunch and then see where I get to, and then I can make pull requests to Ankit later. So to extract only the address instead of all this extra data, like the district and the DOH inspection report link, I found an explanation of how to get a nested element in Beautiful Soup, which is relevant. And let me just walk through some of the theory of what I'm thinking here. So we got HTML tree structure. That includes an anchor tag with an image and some text in here. And this is really what we want, like what is inside this anchor tag. And just the text of it. You know, Urban Academy Laboratory School, high school, and then an address. I think we'll be able to shove that into a geocoding endpoint, and then it'll spit out a latitude, longitude. You can typically include like proper name of a place in a geocoding API. It'll be intelligent enough to figure out what part is the address or not. We could maybe target that specific text node that is just the address, but that seems a bit more complicated than just getting the content of the anchor tag of the text. So I'm going to aim for that to start. We can revisit later if it doesn't work. Now, Beautiful Soup has this API to be able to find specific elements within a document with the find all method. I thought that it might support a CSS selector here, like TRA, and that would give you anchor tags that are under table row tags, but that's not the case, and Beautiful Soup does not work that way. So what I found from this explanation was that the way you do this in Beautiful Soup is look for the leaf tag that you're looking for. Like for us, it would be an anchor tag, and then check its parent and confirm that like the context around that element is the context you're looking for. Surprisingly, this is like exactly what we're looking for because we're looking for an anchor inside of a TD. So I'll use the code from that example to find all anchors, and then if and rename it to anchor, and if the anchor parent name is TD, then we want to maybe print out the anchor.text.strip, similar to what we have down here, to just see if that works. So hopefully we'll see output of the similar text but without this extra information. Let's see. Cool. So what district am I in? So in the first district there were only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 places. Is that correct? District 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. So we've done that. Extract only the address. So I might at this point clean up this implementation and say find the anchor tags which contain the address the meal pickup location address. And yeah, maybe make a commit. That seems like some good work. Let's make a commit and say ignore or maybe like target address information while excluding district and extraneous DOM text from the DOM. This avoids the district number and the text from the link to the DOH's latest inspection getting included in the output. Cool. And committed. All right. Done. All right. Write something that pages through each page. Maybe. And then I just wrote nothing else. These notes were written very quickly before I started this stream. So where is this information represented in data? if I go to school district 2 and then hover over the number 2, it says do post back in the bottom of my window. I'm going to open up DevTools to be able to inspect the network because I have a feeling there's maybe a header being set in the HTTP request when we click that. So we got response headers, request headers, maybe actually in the form data. Like, uh-oh, look at that. Event target? Does that matter? Looking for where it might tell us that we're on page 2. I guess this website's written in like ASP, which I think is a Windows technology for dynamic websites. I'm not too familiar with it. Yeah, Microsoft IIS server. So I guess the DOE uses Microsoft services. But I'm not familiar with how they work. Typically, I would imagine there's like a query string argument, but you know, I do notice that like that data in the bottom of the window says JavaScript do post back. GV data $CTL01 $P2. And when I'm on another page, the only difference is the P4. P2, P4, P2, P4. Maybe the next link would be useful. Because it looks like somehow they set the state of the pagination through what link you clicked on. I wonder if it's possible to like click a link in Beautiful Soup. I don't know. View state? Like, whoa. This is a huge encoded thinger-dinger. So it might be tricky to do this. I could imagine some alternative ways to do the scraping. Like, there's this project called Puppeteer, which lets you like interact with a web page. So I can imagine getting a Puppeteer instance running that like just clicks on the next button and then scrapes and then clicks on the next button and scrapes. But for now, I think I'm gonna skip pagination. Because that seems complicated. And we can come back to it. Unfortunately, this means our map will maybe be missing. I mean, definitely missing some locations. So we should definitely come back to it because we would miss this location. But for now, let's figure out how to write to a CSV file with Python. I mean, I guess really, like, do we even have CSV data? We just have one column of text, which is the address column. So maybe we just write the output to a file, and that should be a CSV. Is this all one line? Or is this separate lines? Looks like it's separate lines maybe, but we can wrap it in quotes. Anyway, yeah, maybe we should use a library from Python that legitimately does this. This looks like there's a CSV library, which we can import. Hopefully that's part of the standard library of Python. Well, adding that import statement and rerunning the Python script did not cause an error. And reading and writing with a file open as a file name. We create a CSV writer and then write a row. Okay, cool. So with open addresses.csv as addresses file, we make a writer that references the addresses file variable. And then let's test out writing a row in our file. And in our case, it would be, I guess, like one of these values. So let's just like paste this in and see if it works. I have a feeling it may not, because yeah, Python doesn't seem to like strings split over multiple lines. So let's just pretend that it's all jammed up together and Python, run that Python script. I now see the file, addresses.csv, and if I look at what's inside of it, we do have one value with quotes around it, which is cool. So let's make an array in Python. And this is a part where I Google how to make an array in Python, which is going to be my favorite part of this stream, because I don't know how to program. Alright, looks like you can just make a array like you can in every other language. You can append to it. So I'll say addresses equals an empty array, and when we find the right element, we will push or append the stripped text into the addresses array. I wonder if I can like write a whole array with this, or do I need to write like to a for loop? How do I do a for loop? For address in addresses, address writer, dot write row, address. Look at me, huh? Run the scraper, check the addresses. Oh, hell yeah. Sorry. Got excited. Got a CSV. Now, this is a place that we can perhaps commit our progress. So we send the scraping output to a CSV file. There are actually 32 of these districts though. So we're only getting one district's addresses. And I wonder if we could rewrite this a little bit to support making calls to each of those 32. 32 HTTP requests is not a ton, but it's not nothing as well. So I want to respect the DOE's website and not essentially send a denial of service attack towards them. So maybe I will build in a like sleep timer in between each of the requests that we make, so that it's like 32 requests maybe over a minute, not within like a second. So let me think if I can rewrite a bit of how this script works to do 32 of these. So I could have like I guess a loop, Python loop. Learning how to program in Python again. I shouldn't really laugh at myself because this is just normal. You know, you have to figure out how to do things all the time. More laughing at myself at the idea that I should already know this, or like that is some stereotype, but anyway. So it looks like we can use the 4x in range syntax to loop through a set of code a specified number of times, which is sort of what we want, because we want to loop from 1 to 32. And for each of those, we want to have a different district in the data, and maybe not accept argument from the command line to set that. So so for district number and range from 1 to 32, let's build data with that district number in mind, and let's define a build data function which accepts a district number, and the district number is going to be a value like 1 or 2 or 28. I think the DDL district form field will expect a padded number like 01, 02, 03. Let me just confirm that. Yep, that is the case. So how do we pad a number with leading zeros in Python? Print, we use a string function to create a string from a number, and then we call the zfill helper method to left pad any string with to a specific bound of like 3 places. Cool. So let's create a padded district number that will include those leading zeros. And then I believe Python works that you just give the name of the variable that you want to return from a function, how to return a value in Python, Python tutorial, functions. I guess we do want a return keyword. I like the return keyword because it lets me know what's going on. All right, so I have a function that builds the, let's call it post data. And we can move the response and document creation into the loop, because we're for like 32 iterations we're gonna make an HTTP request and parse the response with beautiful soup. So I think we could actually move that into the for loop as well, and maybe we're good. I do want to figure out how to sleep in Python so that I'm not making a million requests here. The sleep function. I'm going to be using this function later tonight. I'm kind of sleepy. It's been a long day, but I'm happy to be streaming. Okay, I guess time.sleep. So let's time.sleep 1 at the end of our for loop body, and let's just try 2 districts to start. So we should see, like, if this is the first district, we should see more than 14 lines of output in addresses when we run the scraper now. And I think we could actually let's comment that out for now and run the scraper. Oh no! There's an indentation error on line 63. Let's take a look. Looks like there is an indentation error. Cool. Let's try it again. Name data is not defined on line 59 because I changed the name of this variable to post data to try to make it clearer to me what that variable was. Time is not defined. How existential. I guess I have to import it. Mm. Green check mark. But the addresses file looks the same. That's strange. Hmm. Hmm. Let's try deleting the content of the addresses file and rerunning the Python script to see if it actually modified the file at all. It did. Huh. Hmm. Curious. So I wonder why it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, these are only the addresses from the first school district. What if we changed the range from 2 to 3? Then, whoa. Oh no. We get a lot of information that we don't want, which is not great. But we do get more data. Maybe range is exclusive in Python. Like maybe it's only visiting the first. Yeah, it looks like it is exclusive. So if I make that 1 to 3 and rerun it, it is taking longer, which is a good sign. And yeah, we get a lot more data. Sweet. Thing is though, like we get the pagination headers, which is not great. I mean, we could just like remove those, but maybe we can somehow like drill down into the table rows that we do care about. Like, can we exclude pagination somehow with Beautiful Soup? And yeah, I mean, I could imagine how we could do that. It's kind of hacky, and I don't know if I'm really using Beautiful Soup the right way. I'm probably not, but um, um, how do you do and in Python? I bet it's with the keyword and. We could check the parent's parent class name, and if it's pagination, then we can ignore it. Because the parent's class name that we do care about is empty. So, Beautiful Soup, parent class name. Soup.select. Dude. I guess Beautiful Soup does support CSS selectors. Oh, dude, yeah, that's my jam. Okay, so uh, we can instead do a select on a table row that is not a pagination class. Gosh. Um, Not CSS selector. I hope Beautiful Soup supports not. Why don't we check that? Beautiful Soup CSS pseudo class. Oh, so yeah, Beautiful Soup does not support pseudo classes, which means I cannot use the not syntax. But I could use like style equals background color white, right? um, right? Right. Could we use anything else here? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, maybe background color white's fine. Adders. So find all adders equal so we'll find a table data cell where the style, or how do I do attributes in Beautiful Soup? Adders equal style, and then the value, which is background color white, and then maybe td.find all um, I really want to find the first. Is there like a find, or maybe just a find? Yeah, find will give us the first one, which is good. Maybe this will do what we want. So let's confine it to run on just the first district, and let's see if that works. Does not work. I wonder if we can check if our code is hitting this line at all, and how many times, to see if our Beautiful Soup selector is working. It does not look like it is. So we're looking for a table row, not a table data cell with the background color white. And then within that table row, we'll find the first anchor, which should be here, and then get the content. Let's try that again. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Cool. Now let's try that for 2 pages and see what happens. Yeah. Bum, bum, bum. Alright, cool. Let's go up to 33, I guess. And let it run. I'm gonna put some food on in a minute. I think I'm making a chickpea and maybe some rice. Yeah. Look at all them addresses. Nice. Okay, so it's been an hour and I got somewhere that I feel pretty good about, which is we're at least getting the first page of addresses from each district, the first 20 of each district concatenated into this huge file, so that we have about like 400, which is roughly how many there were that the DOE said. So I'm gonna look through my scrape file and clean up some of the code. And I think Beautiful Soup uses some syntax where they always call this soup equals Beautiful Soup. So let's use that. Get the response from the DOE website, parse into a beautiful, parse the HTML. And write the addresses to a CSV file. Cool. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty good. Let's go with that. Do I want to add the addresses? Yeah, sure. Maybe we'll add it to do in here. Each district, it should eventually, you should update it to walk through the pages of each district. Cool. All right, let's add that to do into our commit. And wow, what did we do? Scrape all 32 district locations at once. Oh, you know what? I have to update the README. Get locations from all 32 school districts in one script. In one script process, or like in one script execution, let's say that. Cool. All right. I think I'm going to take a break at this point because we've got 400 locations in CSV data. Other people could use this to geocode it from here, and maybe I'll come back to this tomorrow and figure out either how to do the pagination on the scraping from each school district's page rather than just getting the first 20, getting all of them, or stepping into the geocoding in JavaScript and actually putting that data onto the page. It feels responsible to do this first because I don't want to publish something into the world that has incorrect data on it because, maps lie enough already. I don't really have to add more like lying to the world, so I might as well get a good data set before going to actually try to make that data set into some visualization. But for now, I'm gonna fork um, Ankit's DOE meal locator. And add my fork to my local Git repository as a remote, and then push what I've been working on to the master on my fork, which isn't exactly good feng shui for Git, but I'm not going for perfect feng shui, just like pretty good feng shui. Oh yeah, that's So I was thinking of making a pull request to Ankit. I think I'll hold off on that because we're gonna be doing a few more changes. I think to support pagination, we might need to rethink the scraper in general. And yeah, I don't want to like cause more the confusion for Ankit and reviewing like one piece of code that I sent him and then like another piece of code that completely rewrites the first piece of code. So yeah, that's my stream for tonight. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you soon.